Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 9 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 9 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter GCF of monomials. Factor out a monomial. Factor quadratics with other leading coefficients. Factor quadratics with leading coefficients. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Let's just start with the chapter factoring list. The first lesson is GCF of monomials. Find the greatest common factor 6n cube and 4n cube. So to find the GCF of two or more monomials, find the prime factorization of each monomial, identify the common factors and multiply them together. For example, you have 6n cube and 4n cube. You can write it as 2 times 3 n. Then you have 2 times 2. You have to see the common things, right? So 2 is common. And here you have 3 and here you have 3 and n is common. That means the greatest common factor is 2n cube. Got it? The correct option is 2n cube. Let's just start with the test questions. Find the greatest common factor 9b cube and 6b cube. So we are going to write their prime factors, right? You can write 6 as 2 times 3 b times b times b, and you can write 9 as 3 times 3 b times b times b. Now you have to look for the common factors. 3 is common and b cube is common, right? So the greatest common factor is 3b cube. Got it? Option number 1 is the correct option. If you have any question with the example I just did, you can please ask so that I can explain. The correct option is option number 1, b cube. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 3b cube. Okay, the next one is find the greatest common factor. So which is the correct option? You have 2b square and 4. You can write 2b square as 2b square and 4 as 2 times 2. So the greatest common factor is 2. Got it? The correct option is 2. So the correct option is option number 1, that is 2. Let's just move on to next example, that is find the greatest common factor 4 and 10q. So let's just write down their factors, that is 2 times 2 as 4 and 2 times 5 as 10. So the greatest common factor is the correct option is option number 1 is the correct option. Got it? Find the greatest common factor 6n cube and 4n cube. So which is the GCF? You can write 6n cube and 4n cube. You can write 2 times 3 n times n times n and 2 times 2 n times n times n. So 2 is common and n cube is common, right? So the correct option is 2n cube. Got it? Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 2n cube. Find the greatest common factor 2f square and 6f. So which is the correct option? That is 2f, right? Option number 2 is the correct option. Find the greatest common factor 8b and 6b square. So which is the correct option? The correct option is option number 2. 2B is the correct option, right? Okay, the next one is find the greatest common factor, that is 6f and 9f square. So which is the correct option? Which is the GCF? The correct option is 3f, right? One more thing. The greatest common factor is the value that can divide both the numbers, right? You have two options here, 2f and 3f. You can divide 6 by 2, but you cannot divide 9 by 2, right? But 3f means 3, that is the number that can divide both the numbers, right? So the correct option is 3f. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is factor out a monomial. Let's just start with the next lesson, right? Factor out the greatest common factor. If the greatest common factor is 1, just retype the monomial. Okay, you have 10v cube minus 4v, right? So how do we factor out? You can write them down the both with their prime factors 2 times 5 is 10 and v cube, 2 times 2 is 4 and v. You can see the common things here, right? 2v. Got it? You can write this 10 cube as v times 5 square, because when you take 2v out, you are left with 5 is 10 and then v square minus 2v times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. You can take 2v as common and you are left with 5 square minus 2. So the correct option is so you have 2 common and a v common. So you can write it as 2v and 5v square minus 2. Let's just start with the test questions, right? Okay, so you have 7q cube and plus 6q square. 7 is a prime number, right? That means they don't have any common number. Right? So you have here q cube and here you have q square. You can write it as 7q q plus 6q and q. You have 2q and 2 here, right? So that means you can take common q square. You are left with 7q plus 6 because when you remove these two q's, you are left with 7q and here you have left with 6. So that is 7q plus 6. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? That is 7 square. So option number 1 is the correct option. That is q square 7q plus 6. Got it? The next one is find the factor out the greatest common factor. So which is the correct option? So the correct option is no, the first one. Why second one? You can see that is 2b, b and b. You can write 8 as 2 times 4 b and b. So you can see 2 is same, so take out 2, right? And then you have 2 b's here and 2 b's here. So b square common. You are left with b plus 4. So that is 2b square times b plus 4. Option number 1 is the correct option, not the second one. Got it? Option number 1 is the correct option. Got it? The next one is factor out the greatest common factor. So which is the correct option? Option 1 or option 2? Option number 1 is the correct option. Very good. That is option number 1. Okay, we're going too slow, right? So let's just factor out the greatest common factor, that is 3u cube plus 6u square. So which is the correct option? Option number 3 is the correct option, right? That is 6. You can write 6 as 3 times 2 and 3. Very good. That is second one. 3u times u plus 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. Very good. Okay, factor out the grid test common factor 6h minus 8. Which is the correct option? Option number 2 is the correct option, right? You can take common 2, you are left with 3h minus 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. And the next lesson is factor quadratics with other leading coefficients. Okay, so you have to factor 5f square plus 9f plus 4. So this equation is in the form that is ax square plus bx and plus c, right? You can compare these equations. So you need to factor out that 9f, right? How do you factor? You can make the factors that when added makes 9f and that when multiplied makes 20. Let's just start with the test questions, right? That is already solved. You can have a look on the one later today. Okay, so that is 3d square plus 10d plus 7. So just listen to me carefully, right? You need to break down that 10d. How? You need to break down that 10d into two numbers that when added makes 10 and that when multiplied makes 7 times 321, right? You are going to find two numbers that when added makes 10 and that when multiplied makes 21. So which is the correct option? That is 7 times 3. Very good. When you add them, 7 plus 3 makes 10. When you multiply them, 7 times 3 makes 21. So let's just break down that 10d. Just look at the one. 3d square plus 3d plus 7d plus 7. You can see when you add them, you can have 10d back, right? So from here, you can take common 3d, you are left with d plus 1. From here, you can take common 7, you are left with d plus 1. So these are the common factor. D plus 1 is the common factor, and you are left with 3d plus 7. So the correct option is option number 2. If you have any question, you can ask. So that means option number 2 is the correct option. Let's just move on to next one. Okay, 3z square plus 10z plus 3. Okay, now you have to factor them. How do you make their factors? That would be 3d square plus 10z plus 3. You need to multiply these two coefficients of z square and 3. 3 times 3 makes 9 and 10. You need to find two numbers that when added makes 10 and that when multiplied makes 9. So what are the numbers? Quick, quick. That is 9 and 1, right? When you multiply them, 9 times 1 is 9. When you add them, 9 and 1 makes 10, isn't it? So you can write it as 3z square plus 9z plus 1z plus 3. So from here you can take common 3z, you are left with z plus 3 times 3 is 9. And from here you can take common 1, you have z plus 3. So z plus 3 and z plus 3 are the common factors, and you have 3z plus 1. So the correct option is option number 1. If you have any questions, you can please ask. I am here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. The correct option is z plus 3 times 3z plus 1. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option. Got it? Let's just move on to next one. That is, these are the very important questions, right? 2z square plus 7z plus 5. That is 2z square plus 7z plus 5. 5 at times 2 makes 10. So you need to multiply two numbers that when multiplied makes 7 and that when added makes 7. So which is the correct option? So you need to make the factors, right? 5 and 2. 2 times 5 is 10, and when you add they make 7. So that is 2z square plus 2z plus 5z plus 5, right? From here you can take common 2z, you are left with z plus 1. From here you can take common, you are left with z plus 1. So z plus 1 and z plus 1 is a common factor, and you have 2z plus 5. So the correct option is option number 2 is the correct option. Very good. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 2z plus 5 and z plus 1. Okay, for the next one, you have to factor and tell me the answer, right? But a bit quick. 10t square plus 9t plus 2. So which is the correct option? Very good. That is second one. 2t plus 1 and 5t plus 2. Very good. Okay, the next one is 2n square plus 19n plus 9. So which is the correct option? So, which is the correct option? Option number 1 is the correct option, that is n plus 9 times 2n plus 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Factor 2q square plus 9q plus 7. So, which is the correct option? Which option is the correct one? Which is the correct option? That is option number 1. 2q plus 7 times q plus 1 is the correct option. Got it? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So, we were working on grade 9 math. The chapter we are working on is factoring. The lessons we have covered today are GCF of monomials, factor out a monomial, factor quadratics with other leading coefficients. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Or either you can write down the question in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So you can please write down the questions in the chat box for which you need help. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. No questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye everyone.